Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be reviewing this guy right here. This is the Seiko SVBR02C pocket watch. Now Seiko is usually known for its wristwatches, but what people don't realize is that they've been making pocket watches for about 100 years now. Now for the most part, pocket watches are considered just a relic of the past. They really serve no function in society and are now just pretty much just a novelty. And this is for multiple reasons, which I'll get to later. However, there is one occupation that pocket watches have managed to maintain their relevancy, and that's in railroad conductors. Now to be honest, I know almost nothing about railroads, trains, or subways, but what I do know, thanks to some helpful websites, is that Japan adopted Seiko as their official railway watch in 1929 with the release of the Type 19, and wooden cutouts in their consoles would actually hold the watches as the conductors drove the trains, and this still occurs today. The model that's available to the general public is the SVBR003, and for almost 100 years, the design hasn't changed much. In between the SVBR003 and the Type 19 are a plethora of special edition watches, and these are typically released for a special event or an anniversary for a railway in Japan. And so this SVBR02C is also one of those special anniversary watches. And today we're going to take a look at this watch. I'm going to give you my thoughts on it and whether or not pocket watches still deserve a place in society. Alright, so I was able to get this watch in its original packaging, so you can see right here in the front it does say Hankyu 100th anniversary. And if you guys don't know, this pocket watch is commemorating the 100th anniversary of Hankyu Railway, which is a railway in Japan established in 1907, and it's a railway that connects Osaka with Kobe and Kyoto and also a few other cities. So you can see that the box isn't in the best shape. You can see there's a bit of tearing over here, there's some dents, there's some scratches, but I am happy that it did come in the original box. Now once we open it up here, you can see that it does come with the warranty, but it's actually guaranteed only valid in Japan, which kind of makes sense because this watch was only released in Japan. And so we can see here, this is the model number, SVBR02C. This is the movement, the 7C21 quartz movement, and you can see it's dated here, 2008, May 25th. So this watch is definitely over 10 years old now. And of course, like all Seiko watches, we do come with the instruction manual, and it's pretty standard because it is a quartz movement. Now the first thing you're going to see here is, this is the lanyard. It's just kind of like a braided lanyard. It's nothing special really. And then here's where things get interesting. So I'm just going to slowly remove this. So this watch, here's the pocket watch itself. You can see that it's actually quite similar to most Seiko pocket watches. Now if you compare this pocket watch with the SVBR003, you can say they pretty much look identical except for that writing on the bottom, which I'll get to later. And lastly, this watch actually comes with a nice little stand here. So this stand, I'm not sure what the material is, but it's very solid and quite heavy. And the whole purpose is that you would actually place the pocket watch here, kind of like how you'd place it if you were, a railroad conductor on your train. And then you can kind of use it as a desk clock. And you can see over here, this was made 2007, October 19th, and this is to celebrate Hankyu's 100th anniversary. Alright, so what can I say about the dial? Well, it's pretty legible. The Arabic numbers are large and contrast nicely with the white dial. The markers and the text are printed, and I think it would have been nicer if they were applied instead. And as I mentioned before, the writing on the bottom is really what differentiates this watch from other Seiko pocket watches. If I put it through Google Translate, it translates to Hankyu Corporation 100th Anniversary. Now I have mixed feelings on the writing on the dial. I think it does make the dial feel more busy, but it also makes the watch feel special and unique. And you might have noticed by now that the crystal appears to be cloudy or a little bit dirty, but that's because the protective sticker is still on the front glass. That leads me to believe that whoever first purchased this watch in Japan probably didn't use it all too much. And as for myself, I'll probably keep that protective film on for now, as I may decide to resell this watch in the near future. Flipping over to the back, we can see that this pocket watch is a limited edition number 208 of 2007 pieces. And we can also see that the blue protective sticker hasn't been removed yet. When I hold this pocket watch in my hand, one of the first things I notice is how heavy it is. This feels much heavier than your typical wristwatch, and I'm honestly not too sure why. The watch is encased in stainless steel. The diameter is around 50 millimeters, but I feel like that shouldn't equate to a hefty pocket watch. And when I looked online to find a pocket watch to compare it to, I found this Tissot quartz pocket watch, which weighs just over 50 grams, compared to this Seiko pocket watch, which weighs just over 80 grams. The only explanation I can think of is maybe that extra weight is beneficial to train conductors, but your guess is good as mine. Another thing to note is that this pocket watch is quite thick at around 13.5 millimeters, and this is partly due to a domed crystal, which creates that distinctive distortion around the edges. Again, you can compare this to the Tissot Lepine, which is only 8 millimeters thick. Under the hood, this watch is powered by the 7C21 quartz movement, with a stated accuracy of plus or minus 15 seconds per month. And after owning it for about a month now, it's gained 10 seconds, so by no means is this even close to high accuracy quartz standards. I've also noticed that the ticking sound is a lot more noticeable, perhaps because it's a rather large timekeeper compared to a quartz wristwatch. Now, if it's going to be in your pocket most of the time, this probably won't be an issue. However, you may hear it if you do leave this on your desk. And speaking of which, I'm really happy that a desk stand was included. I feel like most pocket watches aren't sold with this accessory, and that's unfortunate because it allows pocket watches to be repurposed into a desk clock. And I think this watch is a great addition to your workspace and will definitely serve as a conversation starter. And finally, the watch comes with a simple black lanyard, which I feel like isn't as stylish as a chain. But then again, this might be because it's a pocket watch for train conductors, and perhaps lanyards are more practical than chains. Now in terms of cost, I was able to pick this one up for 220 Canadian dollars on Yahoo Auctions Japan. However, you do need to keep in mind that I also had to pay a shipping fee, the duty fees, as well as a battery change. So in total, this thing costs around 320 Canadian dollars. Now keep in mind that my model is a limited edition, so it's a little bit harder to get. So if you do just want the standard version, you can easily find this on sites like Sakura Watches or Saya Japan. So considering the design, the functionality, and the price, is this piece worth it? In my opinion, it's actually not worth it. I don't think pocket watches are a viable substitute to things like wristwatches, and it's simply because a wristwatch, you actually wear it on the outside and people can see it and it's part of your outfit, whereas pocket watches are usually just stuck in your pocket and no one can really see it and appreciate it. Now you can show off your pocket watch by attaching it to a waistcoat, but most people don't casually wear a waistcoat when they go out. And the last reason why I think pocket watches just aren't worth it is the lack of innovation. So with wristwatches, there's been a lot of innovations in terms of things like automatic movements, solar power movements, but those ideas really don't translate well when you have something just in your pocket the whole time. And a few other criticisms that are specific to this pocket watch is I feel like it's a little bit too heavy compared to other pocket watches. And I really don't like black lanyards for the pocket watch. Again, maybe there's a more practical purpose for the lanyard versus a chain, but I feel like a chain would look a lot nicer. But at the end of the day, this watch is a limited edition. It commemorates a piece of railroad history. So if you like trains and you like pocket watches, this could be the pocket watch for you. And again, I have to give praise for the wooden stand that's included. It's a neat way to turn this pocket watch into a desk clock, and it's very legible under all sorts of lighting conditions. And while one could argue that paying over $300 for a desk clock is overpriced, keep in mind that people will pay thousands of dollars for wristwatches that are less accurate compared to watches that cost a fraction of the price. So whether or not something is considered overpriced is really up to the individual. As for me though, I think I'm just going to stick to collecting wristwatches as a hobby, and I probably won't pay too much attention to pocket watches in the future. So anyways, that's my review of the Seiko SVBR02C. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, I'll see you guys next time.